Y'all thought I forgot about y'all, didn't y'all? A couple of days ago, I said that I was going to share a message. Um, and now I finally feel like I got a little energy to put that message out there. But I was talking to Curtis. She helped this message come to me. And she was talking about the video of Michaela getting her ears pierced, and she sent me a message and she was like, that's really your child. And she was talking about the part where Michaela was like, oh, I felt that, but that's okay. And she was like, nigga, that's exactly how you handle things. And I just be over here like, but are you okay? Truth is, I don't be knowing half the time. But it just made me like, took my mind back within myself, and it made me think about like how I've always handled things, and how sometimes I really don't process and I don't know if I'm okay. I've always operated off a warrior mindset, and like warrior mindset, you don't have time to heal. Like you take in, you see what happened, and then you got to keep it moving. Like that's how I always move. Like I was in survival mode, and the truth is I wasn't really in survival mode, but that's how it felt. Anytime I've ever had my big moments, my tower moments, they were times where it was like everything around me was going down, and the only thing I could do is move on. Like it's always been moments where I'm left by myself, or like people that I thought would be by my side are not there, or shit pertaining to a job or my child or my well-being. Like anytime I've had my big moments, I felt like I didn't have time to process. Like I'm a warrior, and warriors, like a warrior mindset is like survival mode. The tribe depends on you. Everything depends on you. You can't stop. You have to get to, like, you got to figure out what's next. You got to keep moving. It's all survival mode. So and me thinking about that just made me realize, like, but that's not healing. Like just moving on and being like, oh, like, yeah, acknowledge. I'm always about acknowledgement. Like if something bothers me within myself, I don't front. Like most times I didn't give a fuck. That's what got me in the warrior mindset. Like you just got to do what you got to do. And I've always been used to just doing what I got to do. But that was cool until it wasn't. Like I got to a point where it was like things that I thought I didn't care about, or things that I repressed, or things that I ignored, or things that I didn't take time to heal, like it all came crumbling down, and all I could do was stop and realize. And a lot of times when you have the tower moments, it's because you are supposed to stop and observe. Like if things around you don't get so fucked up that like you can't bust a move, because if it's a move to be bust, I'm gonna find that shit out. But sometimes like things was happening to me that it was like it was nowhere I could go. Like it was meant for me to just stop and observe what was going on around me and process and heal. You cannot heal without processing. And I looked up the definition of processing, because that's how I help myself. Like when I find new things, like processing isn't a new word, but pertaining to healing, I wanted to know what the actual definition of processing was. And processing is performing a series of operations in order to change or preserve, dealing with something using an official and established procedure. And that kind of reminds me of like how people be looking for closure. I hated closure. I hate it when people say they need a closure. Only closure you need is within your damn self. Like that's the only closure that you need. But that reminds me, like sometimes in order to heal, you don't just acknowledge. Like I said, I'm okay with acknowledging when something is fucking me up, when something bothers me, I can say it, but I usually keep it within myself. But sometimes the process is getting it out. Sometimes you need to get it out. You need it to get from out of your mind, from out of your cells, from out of your DNA, from out of. Sometimes you don't get to heal because you're holding on, because you didn't get to say the things that you needed to say. So I was writing down like different things that I've done over time to heal. I'm not gonna get into all of that. I've shared a lot of that with y'all, my full moon rituals and stuff like that. But also, I don't speak things out loud. I'm good with writing, but I got a lot of mental chatter. Like I talk to myself within myself a lot. And the thing is, like, if you need to get it out, like I was saying, like closure, the only closure is within yourself. Processing, coming to terms to why a lesson happened to you. Sometimes it's good to speak the things out loud, or like how I said, I write them, because it's about holding on. You can't really move on if you're still holding on. And sometimes the shit is deeply ingrained in you. And a good way to get that out is to speak it out loud or write it to yourself. Or I had a friend share with me, sometimes she does voice recordings and listen back to them, because your mind, your brain, your heart, whatever you're holding on to, they don't know if you're actually speaking it to that person. They just know that you letting that shit out. And that's a big part of like the healing process, getting it out of you, getting it, speaking that shit into the universe, whatever you want to say, but getting it from out. Actually saying these things, like lifting the burden off of your shoulders. What's the notes I took? Oh, I took the notes that sometimes the tower moments occur, divine intervention occur, so you can stop and focus on yourself. A lot of times we think that we're learning the same lessons over and over so they can benefit other people, but most times they're for you to benefit yourself. Sometimes you learn the same lessons because you need to learn kindness. Sometimes you go through the same things because you need to learn patience. Sometimes you go through the same things because you need to learn love, and for yourself, not always for others. Sometimes those lessons are for us to offer that to ourselves. So you continuously go through the same things because you're not stopping, observing, and realizing like, oh shit, I just went through this. Yeah, I switched that up, but did I switch it up within myself? Or did I do something else to benefit others? Like a lot of the times it's for us to benefit ourselves.